Hello, everybody, and welcome to the next episode of the UR College Bound Show. Welcome again. We hope you enjoyed last week's episode. This week we have a new co host, which is. I'll have him introduce himself. Awati.
Hey, Randy, thank you for the introduction. Hi, my name is Iwafi, and I'm an academic advisor. And a fun fact about me is that I am a lefty, so I do write with my left hand. And now I'll give back to Randy for the moments of Randy.
All right. Last week you saw the segment about mental health and mindfulness, and again, we have another episode, so we hope that you enjoy. Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Moment of Serenity with your host, Serenity. Now, last episode, we talked a little bit about mental health and mindfulness, and we dove a little bit into the difficulties of being a teen, especially through a global pandemic. Today, we'll be talking about a very important topic, which is emotional awareness. With a twist, though. So let's dig in. Earlier in the program, we spoke about self-advocacy and knowing yourself and your needs and effectively communicating them. This goes hand in hand with emotional awareness and emotional literacy. Emotional awareness can be defined as being more conscious of how you're feeling in the moment. Again, this ties back to mindfulness. Emotional literacy suggests a person's ability to communicate their emotions through words and read them in others. Our emotions important in the first place. But just like we all have mental health, we all have different emotions. The frequency of these different emotions can vary from person to person. I'm a crier. Some people may never cry. Some people may feel sad more often. Some people may feel more joyful more often. It really depends on a lot of things, which can include our environment, the weather, and circumstances that we are in the present moment as well. But what's most important about emotions is that they are temporary and ever-changing, but they hold very key answers to many questions that we have. Emotions can be tough to deal with. It may be easier to think of it as something sweet, like a cake. Oftentimes, we can't put our feelings into words because we don't even have a word to describe how we're feeling. And a lot of times it comes off as anger. Icing on the cake is going to be anger. But once you dig deeper into the layers, you may see that maybe I'm not actually angry, but instead I'm guilty. I feel shame. I feel hurt. I have anxiety. I'm hungry. Things like that. Not everything that we feel in that very moment is going to be the exact thing that really caused it. But let me give you an example. So let's say you're in class and you're being a little noisy with your friends, and so your teacher kicks you out, and everybody turns and laughs at you, and it doesn't feel good. So your first reaction, again, that icing on the cake, is that you curse your teacher out and you storm off. Now, that's not the best way to handle things. However, for somebody who is not emotionally mature quite yet, that may seem like the best thing to do in the moment. But again, if we take a look back at our cake, we have our icing again, which is anger and storming off. But deep down, you're not feeling anger. If you cut into the cake and you look at the slice, you may actually see that you feel embarrassed. Feeling embarrassed is nothing that anyone ever wants to feel, especially in front of a whole class of people. In the moment, you can't really say that because you don't want to be laughed at again or feel unheard. So the first thing that you do is you enact anger in your life. And a lot of times that is our first reaction because it's so easy to be angry versus telling the truth and being transparent and saying, hey, that really hurt me. It does take a lot of pride, but that's okay. This is why I'm here to help you. Now, once we begin to strip away the layers of the onion, or in this case, cut the cake, we can begin to see how different emotions affect us and how we can effectively manage them. Now we know how to recognize these emotions and pinpoint them. How can this help in our everyday life? 1, be transparent. Be honest about how you're feeling. It takes time, and I don't expect you all to be pros at this, of course. But be honest. You're not always angry. Maybe you're annoyed. Maybe it's hot. Hot weather is definitely a trigger for me. Maybe you're hungry. Again, we talked about being hangry, and it's a true thing. We have these psychological and these physiological things that affect us and in turn affect our emotions. And if we can figure out where it stems from, we can start to then effectively move on to becoming better. But before we can get better, we can use some mindfulness tips. So think of the tips as ingredients to the cake, right? So you have flour, you have eggs, milk, all that good stuff. For example, I get really irritable and angry when I'm sleepy. So let's talk about the different ingredients that I can put into my cake to avoid being angry in the morning. To avoid being sleepy and irritable, maybe I can take a walk in nature, get some fresh air, and calm my mind. And this can also set me up to have a better night's sleep so that when I go to bed and wake up, I'm more refreshed and I don't feel as angry. Being aware of your emotions also means that you know what happens when you have a certain emotion. When I'm angry, I know that I can hurt the people around me. So what I'd like to do is, again, take those eggs, flour, and milk, put it together in my cake. After getting all of my ingredients together, hopefully that will bring me to becoming a better me. Now that we've talked about the importance of emotions, what emotional awareness and literacy is, and different ways to manage them, I hope that you can take this with you throughout school, throughout your entire life, actually. Always remember the cake and the icing. Things aren't always as it seems on the outside. And so every time you're getting angry, think back. How am I really feeling inside? Cut down the layers, and that'll make all the difference. Thanks for watching. Okay, so I hope that you guys enjoyed episode 2 of A Moment with Serenity, and I hope that you learned something valuable. Right now, I kind of want to see in the chat what you guys took from it. I hope you liked my little cake metaphor as well. I think that it was really helpful for me, and I hope you guys enjoyed it too. Emotions are really important, and sometimes they can be uncomfortable to talk about, but I think once we get over that uncomfort and we start to know ourselves better, we are then able to effectively communicate them. And then this goes hand in hand with self-advocacy, which is a big theme in this summer, especially when we're talking about the road back to our dreams. Knowing yourself is going to be key to many things. That's the foundation that you build upon. Will said, gotta be kind to yourself often, because it's so true. Sometimes you can overthink, and that's something that we'll talk about later on in the summer as well. But as you guys converse in the chat, I am going to give it over to Zoea's movie recommendation corner, which she has a really great segment for you all today. So I hope you enjoy. Let's take it away.
Buckle up, hotties. It's episode 2 of Why Would I Watch This? Y'all gonna join me while I do my makeup, because I gotta go. Today, we were talking about Spike Lee's 1988 School Days. And it's set in the HBCU. Now, if you're in Caleb's class about social life and stuff, y'all have talked about HBCUs and college life and how that can be different. Well, in the story, this is 1988, so apartheid is still a thing. Alexa, what was apartheid?
According to Wikipedia, apartheid was a system of institutionalized racial oppression that existed in South Africa and Southwest Africa from 1948 until the early 1990s.
One of the characters, the main character, Vaughn, he's basically like really stressed about the fact that the school hasn't chosen sides against apartheid, even though the school is an HBCU, right? So this feels like contrasting morals. And on top of that, he's out here trying to fight and trying to tell the university to stick it. The university's like, we're gonna expel you. So then that kind of makes things a little bit more complicated. And that kind of brings me to my first point about self-advocacy versus sometimes you just might not have the ability to fight in the way people are asking you to fight. And one thing that I wanted to really, emphasize with this is that, being people of color, investing in yourself is a protest, right? Because if the point is to succeed, it's to create generational wealth, it's to spread messages about your experience, it's to get yourself out there and to grow as a person, then putting your time, energy, and effort into those things is okay too. But keep in mind that there are other ways to protest and to stand up for your community. If you were here for Paradigm Shift, that's also something that they talked about. For example, you don't have to necessarily skip class to go protest to show the world that, you stand behind a particular cause. Things like mailing and calling your Congress people, straight up donating to certain causes and relief funds, volunteering your time in your community, your library, your soup kitchens. But back to this movie. So the point is, Vaughn is really upset because his friends are like, listen, I'm down with what you're down with, but I don't think I'm trying to get expelled, which is valid. That leads me into my bigger point about peer pressure. The movie explores a whole bunch of other ways where peer pressure can manifest. So they talk about Greek life. Sometimes you might feel pressure to pledge. Sometimes in the pledging, you might feel pressure to do certain things. Sometimes in relationships, you might feel pressured to take up something or drop something. Vaughn's girlfriend wants to join a sorority, and Vaughn is immediately like, no, bro, what are you doing? And part of understanding yourself, your values, and honoring your individuality is knowing that regardless, it doesn't matter what anyone tells you or what situations you're in. If something is wrong, it's wrong. If you don't want to do it, you don't. And you should be able to be exactly who you are and get exactly where you need to be in life without having to be continuously placed in situations where you are made to be uncomfortable. And on that note, also thinking about how this connects to advocacy, you're going to feel real fast that campus is a bubble, right? So it's really important to step outside of that campus bubble, but not to overwhelm y'all, because at the end of the day, college is a space for you to figure out who you are, what it is that you believe in, and what you want to do. That all being said, though, School Days is very conveniently back on Hulu, tying it all back to Upward Bound. Take this summer to figure out what you like, right? Maybe pay a little extra attention in that data science class. Maybe spend a little bit more time answering the questions in the personal statement class. Because trust, the more you know about yourself now, the easier navigating all of this stuff is going to be.
Alrighty, I hope that you guys enjoyed that. I'll have Awati say a couple words and introduce the next segment for you all. Take it away, Awati.
All right, thank you, Serendy. I hope you all learned something from the video from Serendy and Zoya. And now we will go to the next segment, which is T-Bone, which was created by Shantavia and Tahara.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of T-Bone. And today we're going to be talking about high blood pressure.
What is high blood pressure, Tahara?
Let's find out.
High blood pressure is
A common disease that develops when
blood flows through the arteries at a higher than normal pressure. Let's talk about some terminology, guys.
Lebo means vein. Hem means blood. Myo is muscle. Dilation is when something becomes bigger. Constriction is when something becomes smaller. Viscosity is how thick something is. Systolic pressure is a pressure when your heart pumps out blood.
And diastolic pressure is the pressure your heart rests between beats. Arteries versus veins. Veins have valves. They help bring the oxygenated blood back to the right side of the heart, which is blue. Arteries are red. They carry oxygenated blood and nutrients away from your heart to the rest of your body. Oxygenated blood is on the left. Deoxygenated blood is on the right. With hypertension, increased salt can lead to increased water retention in the blood. Then this can lead to increased blood volume in the blood, and that leads to high blood pressure. Hypertension, aka high blood pressure, has a genetic component. Angiotensinogen is made in the liver and released in the kidneys. This hormone regulates salt and water retention. When this is mutated, it can lead to hypertension, aka high blood pressure. Stroke volume is the volume of blood pumped out of the left ventricle of the heart during each systolic cardiac contraction. In simpler terms, stroke volume is the amount of oxygenated blood pumped out of the heart and distributed to the whole body during one heartbeat.
Decrease in stroke volume decreases the amount of blood in the arterial system, thus decreasing the diastolic blood pressure. This then leads to lack of blood and oxygen going to the heart, which is called ischemia. Ischemia may weaken the heart over time and potentially lead to heart failure.
There are 3 things that affect stroke volume.
The first one is preload. Preload is how much the ventricles are stretched before they contract. Venous return increases preload, which is the amount of blood returning to the heart. Exercising and decreased heart rate increases venous return.
The second is afterload. Afterload is the pressure the ventricles must overcome to eject the blood out of the heart. Blood pressure affects afterload. If you have high blood pressure, the heart must work harder to eject the blood out of the heart, and this is problematic. The last one is contractility. Contractility is how forcefully the heart contracts at a given heartbeat. Contractility is affected by cytosolic calcium levels. To increase these levels, you have to have hormones, which is norepinephrine and epinephrine. And also the sympathetic nervous system, known as fight or flight, can also increase these levels. And this is it for today's episode.
Stay tuned for the bloopers. Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. Hi.
Welcome back to our channel.
You like
It's
my
called-
glasses?
These are groundbreaking glam glasses.
Mm-hmm.
Oh!
Girl, I've been started.
She brought a buddy in. What you studying? Education. That's where the money is. You think you funny, huh? Yeah, I'm the funniest. So what about you? Her friend replied, I don't go to school. Okay, what you do? I'm a dancer. And quick question, are you a Cancer?
Alrighty, thank you so much, Shantavia and Tahara. Every time I watch their segment, I always laugh. They're so creative and also very informative. I always learn new things about the body that I didn't know before. So thank you. Now, Will did put in the chat a question for College Bound Point. So if you all were paying attention, how many times did Tahara change her red glasses in the segment? So I'll give you guys some time to think, let it marinate. But when you have your answer, go ahead and put it in the chat. And then whoever gets the right answer, because you were paying attention, you will be awarded some College Bound points. We are nearing the end of our show, but not before we give you a little rundown on what's going to happen tomorrow. Alrighty, so welcome to the College Corner. So this next college trip that we'll be taking tomorrow may be a little bit different. We're not going too far. We're going to stay right home at University of Rochester. And just to give you a little bit of information that you may or may not have known before, the University of Rochester is a school with 7 schools within the university. With 200 plus degree programs, there are possibilities for everybody. They have a flexible curriculum where you have the ability to create your own major. As you guys have probably been through already, the tunnel system, which is really, really convenient, especially in the cold, wintry Rochester. So definitely, if you are looking to become a student here, that's something that is going to help you if you live on campus. Rochester has about 12,000 students enrolled, so even though it may not seem that big, there are a lot of students who attend the University of Rochester. With that being said, there is a very large international student population. So again, that cultural exposure is really important, and just making new friends. Along with the 200 degree programs, there are over 200 clubs and organizations. So again, there's something for everybody. This is really going to grant you an opportunity to ask many questions when we have our tour and our info session tomorrow. If you're interested in any of the clubs, if you're interested in any of the degree programs, definitely make sure that you reach out. Another thing that stood out to me, now I don't play Quidditch, but they have a Quidditch team, and if I'm not mistaken, Quidditch is that game that they play in Harry Potter, so if that's something you're into, that's another little unique thing that I have figured out about the University of Rochester. Last but not least, academic support is really important, and they have many resources to help students succeed at the University of Rochester. Again, these are all very important questions to ask tomorrow when you are in the info session and on the tour. And after our tour of the university, we'll be having a kickball tournament. So I hope that you guys can bring your game face, your A game, and all that. I won't be playing. I will be watching you all get super competitive, but that's okay. I hope everyone has fun, but that definitely means to bring comfortable clothes to like run in and play in, and shoes, etc. The last thing that I want to talk about, which I touched on previously, is the importance of college bound points. So at the beginning, we all gave you this idea of the UR college bound pie. Can you consume all 8 pieces? We sure hope that you can. So this means popping into a virtual office hour. Definitely let's keep that same energy up. Let's make sure that we're popping in, asking questions if need be, because there's always questions and we have the time for it. Catch a weekly episode of the College Bound Show on YouTube. So the people that are here now, thank you so much. Those points will be awarded to you. Attend weekly squad meetings. Complete your assignment for math. Attending your club meeting. I don't know why you wouldn't want to attend your club, especially if you're in an art club, just saying. Complete your college 101 assignment. Submit your responses for Comp and Lip. And attend your foreign language class. Really, it's actually quite simple to consume this pie. Really just being engaged and participating as much as you can and taking the best of the summer, right? So you're with us for 6 weeks and we're at the 3rd week now. 3 more weeks to go. So let's have fun and let's end it on a good note. With that being said, I'm going to pull Awathi up. And that is it for our show. Again, I hope that you guys have all enjoyed it. And stay tuned for the next episode that we have. So, again, this was your host, Serenity. I'll let Awathi say his goodbyes as well.
All right. Bye, everyone. I hope you guys enjoy the show, and I'll see you all tomorrow.
Woo! Let's have fun tomorrow, guys.